Online Class Philippines.
Welcome to Science 7 class. Today, we are going to study about the component of scientific investigation. The scientific method involves a series of steps that are used to investigate a natural occurrence. Here are the steps for the scientific method. First, identify the problem. Second, do some observation. 3. Formulate a hypothesis. 4. Experiment. 5. Collect and analyze result. 6. Conclusion. 7. Communicate the results. First, formulate a problem or question. Develop a question or problem that can be solved through experimentation. In Pilipino, humanap ng isang problema na maaaring marisolbahan sa pamamagitan ng pag-eksperimento. Second, do some observation or research. Make observations and research your topic of interest. In Pilipino, gumawa ng ilang obserbasyon at magsaliksik tungkol sa iyong mga napiling dapat hanapin. Third, formulate a hypothesis. Predict a problem answer to the problem or question. Example, if soil temperatures rise, then plant growth will increase. In Filipino, humanap ng isang hinuha tungkol sa iyong problema o tanong. 4. Experiment. Develop and follow a procedure. Include a detailed materials list. The outcome must be measurable or quantifiable. In Filipino, sundin ang isang metodolohiya at isama ang mga materyales. Ang kalalabasan ay dapat nasusukat. 5. Collect and analyze result. Modify the procedure if needed. Confirm the result by retesting. Include tables, graphs, and photographs. In Filipino, kung kailangan ay ulitin ang inyong pamamaraan at gumamit ng mga tables, graph, at mga photographs. 6. Conclusion. Include a statement that accepts or rejects the hypothesis. Make recommendation for further study and possible improvement to the procedure. In Filipino, idagdag ninyo kung inyo bang hinuha ay tinanggap o hindi. Magbigay din ng rekomendasyon para sa mga susunod na pag-aaral tungkol sa iyong problema. 7. Communicate the result. Be prepared to present the project to an audience. Expect questions from the audience. In Filipino, maging handa sa pagpipresenta ng inyong proyekto. Asahan ang mga tanong mula sa iyong mga nanonood. Let's put our knowledge of the scientific method to a realistic example that includes some of the terms you'll be needing to use and understand. Let us try. Our problem will be John watches his grandmother bake bread. He asks grandmother what makes the bread rise. She explained that the yeast releases a gas as it feeds on sugar. John wonders if the amount of sugar used in the recipe will affect the size of the bread loaf. In Filipino, pinapanood ni John ang kanyang lola sa pagmamasa ng tinapay. Tinanong niya ang kanyang lola kung bakit umaalsa ito. Pinaliwanag nito na ang yeast ay naglalabas ng hangin pagkatapos kumain sa asukal. Nagtataka si John kung gaano ba karaming asukal ang kailangan upang maapektuhan ang pag-alsa ng tinapay. Observation or research. John researches the areas of baking and fermentation and tries to come up with a way to test his question. He keeps all the information on this topic on a journal. In Filipino, nagsaliksik si John tungkol sa pagmamasa at pagpeperment. Sinulat niya ang lahat ng impormasyon sa kanyang journal. Next, formulate a hypothesis. After talking with his teacher and conducting further research, he comes up with a hypothesis. If more sugar is added, then the bread will rise higher. In Filipino, pagkatapos niyang kausapin ng kanyang guro at ang mga pagsasaliksik, dumating siya sa kanyang hinuha na kung mas maraming asukal ang idadagdag, ay mas aalsa ang tinapay. Hypothesis. The hypothesis is an educated guess about the relationship between the independent and dependent variables. Note, these variables will be defined in the next few slides. Hinuha. Ang hinuha ay isang hula tungkol sa relasyon sa pagitan ng independent at dependent variables. Independent variable. The independent or manipulated variable is a factor that intentionally varied by the experimenter. John is going to use 25 grams, 50 grams, 100 grams, 250 grams, 500 grams of sugar in his experiment. In Filipino, ang independent variable ay isang bagay na binabago mismo ng tagapagsaliksik. Halimbawa, gagamit si John ng 25 grams o kaya 50 grams o kaya 100 grams o 250 grams o 500 grams ng asukal sa kanyang eksperimento. Ito ay kanyang maaaring baguhin. Dependent variable. The dependent or responding variable is a factor that may change as a result of change made in the independent variable. In this case, it would be the size of the loaf of bread. Ang dependent variable ay isang factor kung saan kung magbabago din ang ginawa niya sa kanyang independent variable. Sa ibang salita, ito ay resulta ng pagbabago doon sa independent variable. Control group. In a scientific experiment, the control group that served as the standard of comparison, the control group may be a no treatment or an experimenter selected group. Ang control group ay ang pagbabasihan ng eksperimento. The control group is exposed to the same condition as the experimental group, except for the variable being tested. All experiments should have a control group. Ang control group ay parehas din ang pagdadaanan sa kanyang eksperimento. Ngunit, gagamitin ito bilang standard sa kanyang eksperimento. Because his grandmother always used 50 grams of sugar in her recipe, John is going to use that amount in his control group. Dahil ang lola niya ay gumagamit ng 50 grams ng sugar sa kanyang pagmamasa, ito ang gagamitin ni John bilang control group. Constant. All other factors stay the same so that any observed change in the bread can be attributed to the variation in the amount of sugar. Pag sinabing constant, ito ay mga factors kung saan ay hindi magbabago. They might include other ingredients to the bread recipe, even use, right time, brand of ingredient, cooking time, type of pan used, air temperature, and humidity where the bread was rising, even temperature, or age of the yeast. Kasama nito ang ibang mga gamit sa paggawa ng tinapay, ang oven, ang pag-aalsa, ang brand ng mga ingredient, ang tagal ng pagluluto, ang uri ng pan, ang air temperature o ang halumigmig, at kung kailan umaalsa ang tinapay at kung gaano na ba katagal ang yeast. Experiment. John writes out his procedure for his experiment along with the materials list in his journal. He has both of this checked by his teacher where she checks for any safety concern. Sinusulat ni John ang kanyang pamamaraan sa kanyang experiment sa kanyang journal at ito ay chinecheck ng kanilang teacher para makita kung may kailangan bang ayusin o para sa kanyang kaligtasan. Trials. Trials refer to the replicate group that are exposed to the same condition in an experiment. John is going to test each sugar variable 3 times. Ang pagsubok ay ang pamamaraan kung kailan ilang beses uulitin ang experiment. Collect and analyze result. John comes up with a table he can use to record his data. John gets all his materials together and carries out his experiment. Si John ay nagtalaga ng isang mesa o isang bahagdan kung saan niya ilalagay ang lahat ng mga datos na kanya makakolekta. John examines his data and notices that his control worked the best in this experiment, but not significantly better than 100 grams of sugar. Hinuri ni John ang kanyang mga datos at nakita niya na ang control group ay tama lamang. Pero hindi ito mas maganda kaysa sa 100 grams ng sugar. Conclusion. John rejects his hypothesis but decides to retest using sugar amount between 50 grams and 100 grams. Hindi tinanggap ni John ang kanyang hinuha. Inulit niya ang pagsusulit, ngunit ang ginamit niyang asukal ay sa pagitan ng 50 grams at 100 grams. John finds out that 70 grams of sugar produces the large loaf. His hypothesis is accepted. Nalaman ni John na ang 70 grams ng sugar ay magpuproduce ng mas maalasang tinapay. Kaya ang hinuha niya ay tinanggap. A little practice with a scientific method. The next slide is a Bart Simpson scenario. Read it carefully and see whether you can answer the associated question. Subukan nating alamin ang mga scientific method na gagamitin ni Bart Simpson sa susunod na pangyayari. Bart Simpson believes that mice exposed to the microwaves will become extra strong. Maybe he's been reading too much Radioactive Man. He decides to perform this experiment by placing 10 mice in a microwave for 10 seconds. Do not do this at home. Bart is a misguided fictional character. He compared these 10 mice to another 10 mice that had not been exposed. His test consisted of a heavy block of wood that blocked the mouse food. He found out that 8 out of 10 microwave mice were able to push the block away. 7 out of the 10 non-microwave mice were able to do the same. Naniniwala si Bart Simpson na kung ang mga daga ay ilalagay sa microwave, ito ay magiging mas malakas. Kaya ang ginawa niya sa kanyang eksperimento ay naglagay siya ng 10 daga sa microwave sa loob ng 10 segundo. Huwag mo itong gagawin sa bahay. Dahil si Bart ay katang-isip lamang. Sinubukan niya ikumpara ang 10 daga sa 10 pang daga na hindi niya nilagay sa microwave. Ang kanyang experiment ay ang paglalagay ng isang kahoy sa pagkain ng daga. Nalaman niya na 8 sa 10 daga na nilagay sa microwave ay naitulak ang kahoy. Samantalang 7 sa 10 hindi nilagay sa microwave ay nagawa din ang itulak ang kahoy. Question. 1. What was Bart's hypothesis? 2. Identify the control group. 3. Identify the independent and dependent variables. 4. What might be some of the possible constants? 5. What should Bart's conclusion be? Write your answer on the comment section. Answers. 1. Mice exposed to microwaves will be extra strong. 2. The unexposed mice 3. Independent variable, microwaves. Dependent variable is strength. 5. Same block of wood, same food, time of day, approximate same size of mice, and other more. 6. Microwave exposure that must significantly change the strength of the mice. I hope you learned something today. See you on the next lesson.